Today I want to share the foundations I build Notion systems on. There's a free template linked in the description if you're interested, but I'm going to walk you through how things work and the general thought process. At a basic level, most Notion systems that utilize databases are built on two simple principles, even if you don't realize it. Manage your data centrally and view it contextually. Will Nutt, over at Notion VIP, was the first person I heard use that phrase. This video kind of builds on some of those ideas he set out. Will's stuff is really good. I'll link to his video on this topic down below. What do I mean when I say manage centrally and view contextually? I centralize my content in master databases. One database to store all resources, one to store all notes, so on. One item, one source of truth for each database entry. I then use contextual dashboards to surface only the resources I want to see in that context, rather than a traditional filing system where a file you saved sits within a folder, within a folder, within a folder. Contextual views within your dashboards allow you to see that same file in multiple contexts. It more naturally surfaces to the top based on the properties you assign. You don't have to remember where you saved something, it's just there, ready to be leveraged. So if you're at all familiar with Notion databases and linked databases, there's probably nothing new in that. But how do you organize those master databases and dashboards? Where do they live in your system? My answer to that is Wikis. You can store full database pages within a wiki. When you create a page in Notion, you can make it a database, but if that page is part of a database, it can't in itself become an inner database. As a workaround, you could have all your databases on a regular page, which gives you no database functionality, no sorts or filters. Or you could create inline databases within database items, and that complicates the workspace. This is not the case of Wikis. Wikis essentially allow you to have a database of full-page databases. This is really useful in a database-centric system, managed centrally. We're managing not just our data, but our actual databases from one central location. It also gives you a meta level of organization to assign database properties to your databases. Here's the caveat, and why I think this feature may not have been intentional. In order to create a full-page database within a wiki, or a wiki within a wiki, they need to be already within the page when you convert it to a wiki. But if you're using my template, you really don't have to worry about this. To add a new database or wiki, you can duplicate the template database or template wiki. One additional caveat for adding new wikis is that newly added wikis can't be added to a toggle block. For the layout of the page view in the master database and dashboards, wiki all pages contained within the wiki are nested in a toggle. This is simply to keep the page organized. If you want to add a new wiki and maintain this view, you would need to duplicate the template wiki within the wiki's toggle and not within the database view. The home wiki page is designed to act as the central hub in your Notion workspace. All additional hubs, dashboards and databases are created within your main home hub. This allows for better navigation using Notion's built-in sidebar, as all additional hubs will be nested within your home hub. The order of pages and blocks as they appear within the page toggle in the Notion sidebar is determined by the order at which the content displays on the page itself. To better utilize the navigation and keep a clean look on your home page, all hubs are placed within a toggle at the top of the home page. This keeps them at the top of your navigation under home. The main benefits of using the built-in sidebar to jump between pages in your workspace are: it's sticky. It stays there as you scroll down the page. Scrolling back up a content-heavy page to find links you manually added to a page can be cumbersome. It's collapsible. You can hide the sidebar and get the benefit of using your full screen real estate for your page content. Quick capture. I use full-page databases, and I added databases like tasks and notes to the favorites section of the sidebar. Hitting the plus icon next to those pages is a great way to quick capture items anywhere if your workspace. Personally, I'm primarily using the new details panel. Adding some text-heavy properties like AI summaries into their own panel at the top of the page might be useful, but for the most part, I've been content to keep them organized in sections in the details panel. How you organize your details panel would very much depend on your needs and on how many properties you're working with, but I've been using this approach and it's working well so far. Notion automations are quite powerful, especially with the introduction of webhooks. With these more powerful automations also comes with an increased risk of data loss. Accidentally overwriting the wrong database items or replacing data in a relation property as opposed to adding to it is very easily done. One safeguard I've implemented in my system that I have not seen implemented elsewhere is a database to keep track of automations I've added to my Notion workspace. Automations are managed within the trigger database, which makes perfect sense. However, when an automation updates pages in another database, there's no visibility on where that update is coming from. You can use a last edited by property and see that the automation was updated by Notion, but it's difficult to get much further than that. If you're working with a lot of interconnected databases, this could definitely get confusing. My automation database is built around two properties I add to my other core databases, a triggered property and an updated by property. Both of these properties are relations to my automations database. I then add additional steps to my automations to add the automation to the triggered or updated by property. This easily lets me see what automations have affected what pages. Some of the steps here are a little more involved. This approach may be overkill for your own Notion setup, or it just might not suit the way you think or how you work. Particularly if you're new to Notion, it can be pretty easy to get lost in the weeds of complex templates and setups. I recommend just starting to use Notion to assist you with the work you need to do, even if it's just a blank page with a to-do list or text blocks with random notes. Let your system evolve and grow as your needs do. You're still collecting the right information, completing the right tasks, or writing the right notes. You can iterate on how you want to show it and leverage it better as you go. That said, if you don't want to start with a complete blank canvas or you're interested in the principles and structure of my system, I do have a free template available below. This will set you up with the blueprint or foundation to manage your data centrally and view it contextually. Thanks for watching. If you have questions, I'll do my best to answer. Until next time, keep making.